So I have a friend who's a Christian. And when you're a Christian, a devoted Christian, you have these things called daily devotionals, interestingly enough. And it's like a thought for the day. It's a scripture based encouragement for the day. And from time to time, he will send me his daily devotional by text. He'll take a picture of the page. And it's almost always synchronistically applicable to my life. And it's not all hocus pocus because we talk a lot and he knows what I'm going through. So when he sees one that is very applicable, he forwards it to me. And today he forwarded one about keeping the peace and trying to create peace and be a peacemaker. And it also talked about the fact that maybe the person doesn't want to have peace with you, but you do it anyway. And that's part of being a peacemaker. That's part of being someone that's trying to follow the Christ. And that can be a challenge when you're trying to make peace, keep peace, be peace, and then the person that you're trying to do it with doesn't want to do it. It ain't easy being peacy all the time, but you are called, I think, to do it anyway. And Matthew chapter 5, verse number 9 says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons of God." And again, not a great translation because blessed means happy, blessed means fulfilled, and it also means to be envied. So, do you want to be happy? Yes, you do. Do you want to be fulfilled? Of course you do. Do you want to be envied? Probably not. But do you want to be in the place where you're so happy and you're so fulfilled that people will look at you and say, wow, I want what he has. I want what she has. Do you want that? Yes, you do, even if you don't know that you do. And here's why that you do. Because then people will come to you and say, hey, I need some of what you got. And that gives you the opportunity to speak peace and truth and life more abundant in their life. So happy and fulfilled and to be envied are the peacemakers. And there's another reason why they're to be envied. And I'm going to share that with you in just a minute. And a peacemaker basically means someone that loves peace, someone that's trying to make peace, someone that is trying to declare God's terms, somebody that is trying to make someone whole. And I find it very interesting that it comes from two words, peacemaker, obviously. And the word peace means peace, quietness, rest, common welfare of an individual. So you're trying to bring peace, you're trying to bring rest, you're trying to really love your neighbor as yourself. And the maker part of it means to make it, to manufacture it, to construct it, to act it, to cause it. And what that says to me is that sometimes the person that you're trying to bring peace on, they don't want anything to do with it. They don't want anything to do with you. And instead of throwing your hands up and saying, oh, I've done my part, which at the end of the day, you really have to do, but sometimes you have to make the peace. It doesn't come naturally. Sometimes you have to manufacture the peace. It doesn't come naturally. Sometimes you have to construct the peace. It doesn't come naturally. And from a guy that worked construction through high school, whose grandfather was a general contractor, whose other grandfather was a general contractor, from a guy who's hauling hod up and down a ladder. If you don't know what that is, Google it. Let me assure you, construction is sometimes it's work, and it's sometimes very hard, sweaty, dirty, backbreaking work. And sometimes making peace, keeping peace, bringing peace can be a lot of work, ladies and gentlemen. So you're happy, you're fulfilled, you're to be envied if you're a person that brings peace, even if they have to manufacture it, because the sons of the divine, the sons means a descendant, someone with the same nature as the divine, someone who has shares likeness with the divine, someone who has an inheritance. So if you are trying to bring peace, even if you have to make it, not only are you happy, not only are you fulfilled, not only are you envied because people will come to you and say, hey, help me, but also you're going to be called the offspring. You're going to be called someone that's just like the divine. And interestingly enough here, it's the word for the Elohim, not for the rat bastard. But then it says you'll be called the sons of God. Yes, you kind of will be called the sons of God because people will recognize you and say, oh, that's very godlike. And what did the Christ say? People will know that you are my disciples. Why? Because you have love for one another. Bringing peace unto people, of course, is having love for one another. But that word will be called, you know what it really means? It doesn't so much mean that you're going to be called something. It means you're going to be invited. It means you're going to be summoned. And cousin, do you think getting an invitation from the divine is good or bad? Do you think getting an invitation from the divine is going to be a great thing or not? Of course it is. So the real sense of the verse is that, listen, those that work, even if it means construction and manufacturing peace, those that work for peace are fulfilled. They are happy. They are acting in a Christ-like manner. And because of that, they're going to be invited unto the divine table. They're going to be invited into the divine family. And it also carries a lesser implication that because people envy what they see in you, they'll also invite you to speak into their lives. But sometimes it's not easy being peacy. And even though Paul was a deceiver, he throws in some truth now and again. And this is some truth out of the book of Galatians. Don't be weary in well doing. Don't give up. Don't stop. Don't get tired of doing good, even when your good is not being received. Just a quick look at the Greek in that word. It means don't faint, don't give up, don't be negatively influenced with the outcome or lack thereof. You're trying to be peaceful with someone, they won't be peaceful with you. Don't be upset, don't be discouraged by the outcome, because sooner or later, the time is coming, this verse says, that, and it doesn't say you will reap a harvest. It says that we together, a harvest will be reaped. There will be a time for reaping. There will be a time for celebration. There'll be a time for bringing together. If what? If you don't give up. So no, it ain't easy being PC when people that you're trying to be PC to don't want to be PC with you. But you're doing it because you're trying to love your neighbor as yourself. And by being peaceful to them, you're bringing peace onto yourself. And you are being fulfilled. You are being shaped in the character of God. People are noticing it, whether they will admit it or not. And you are putting yourself in the position of doing the works of the Christ. And you're going to be invited to the divine table. And that's on a spiritual level, but on a very practical level. If you keep on being peaceful and don't grow faint, if you keep calling peace, if you keep calling favor, sooner or later, in due time, you will, the both of you, the one that you trying to be the peacemaker, the one you're trying to make the peace on, will gather together a harvest if you don't give up. That's good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. That's a little bit of a long morning mantra, but I think it's a fitting one, and it is a powerful one. And just to finish up, my friend said, every time you even mention scripture and try to help people decipher its meaning, you're actually being a disciple of God. Hard to argue with that. Hard to argue with that. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. This is New Cosmic Knowledge. We're the last generation of real humans. Let's be peacemakers. Let's not weary in well doing. And let's get busy.